What's up, everybody? It's KB. Again, the whole podcast is presented by our awesome partners over at Wasted Wedge, and a new age of golf has arrived. And if you are looking to be the talk and envy of your group and create memories with your friends and family, look no further than the lineup of Wasted Wedge products and merchandise. These Wasted Wedges are a blast to drink shots out of on and off the course. I want you to think your traditional shot ski that people were lugging around at your college parties and all over the place, and how difficult they were to store, how difficult they were to transport. Wasted Wedge is revolutionizing it. It's now a golf club. It's a wedge. It's compactable, can go right into the side pocket of a golf bag. You have extenders, and it's all plastic cups, so there's no hot glue. There's no glass that you actually have to use. They're the best in the game, and they're revolutionizing the way you're taking shots on and off the course. They're a blast, and you need to check them out. Go to wastedwedge.com. Check out all of the products that they have to offer, from the actual Wasted Wedges themselves to apparel that they have to the extenders and everything in between, to be the talk of your party, be the talk of your golf outing. And you can find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Be sure to follow them. Make sure you're letting them know that you're coming from the Getting the Whole podcast and Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's wastedwedge.com, and find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Remember the name, wastedwedge.com.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, your number one stop for all things in the world of golf. Watch and subscribe anywhere you get your favorite shows on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and more. Just search Get in the Hole. Get in the Hole is the official golf pod of the Underground Sports Philadelphia family of podcasts. Now let's get right into the action. Here's your hosts, Steve McAvoy and Ben Pirro.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
One of the family members from Michael Orr went on Barstool Radio today and was like talking about stuff, and like allegedly there's like text conversations between like their family group chat and then like him and Michael Orr, and then like in their family group chat, Michael Orr saying like, "Give me X dollars and I won't go public with this." So it's like a whole like thing that, like, when I was listening to him talk, I was like, it feels like this family and Michael Orr should just be going to court against the movie studio to get the money and be like kind of on the same side, because that's what it feels like. It kind of boils down to, is like Michael Orr feels like he got cheated out of money from his story from the movie and everything. I don't know. It's a whole process. Like, I'm sure this is going to be like a week-long, like, more and more news leaking out about this.
Yeah, but that also comes down, though, to the fact that he's now under a conservatorship. So now all the money goes under the, I guess, like the proxy or the trust that is like the Tuohy's. So, like, unless he's granted the money from them, which is again, it's the same shit that Britney Spears was under. Like, he has no rights to it technically, because he signed his life away, and like totally nothing on him. Like they gave him this paperwork and say, "Hey, we're gonna adopt you," and it was a complete fallacy. Like, it's that, like, that's
someone
that
said,
"How do you ridiculous?
How do you turn out being the biggest scumbags in a movie when literally one of the people in the movie is Hugh Freeze?"
Terrible. The funniest thing too in all this is that, like, actually not even like funny, but in the movie, like, they kind of sort of allude to the idea that Mike's like kind of like dumb, but his Wonderlic scores are like one of the highest amongst all offensive linemen. Like, is that according to his actual transcripts and everything that they actually got like a hold of? Like, Michael Orr was like, "I'm not as dumb as this movie makes me out to be. I simply just didn't have the resources to like be a very good student." Like, he was a C average student. He wasn't this like dumbass motherfucker who just like came out of nowhere and had to like pick his grades up. He was a legitimately decently smart person, and only got smarter with the fact that he was given this education. But on top of all that, like, these people already had enough money to begin with. Like, they were already millionaires in Tennessee.
Bailey Carlin said, "Take Sandra Bullock's Oscar away and give it to Reggie Bush."
I wonder how Sandra feels. Like to be the person to portray these people.
That just shows how great of an actress she is. She portrayed this human as like the greatest thing ever, and the actual person was a complete scumbag.
Well, honestly, no. this is more to the acting of the actual Leanne Tui than it is to Sandra Bullock. Like, what did Sandra Bullock know? She knew fucking nothing. We didn't know anything until now, and it's been what, like 12 years since the movie came out.
Movie come out.
It had to come out in like 2008, 2009.
2009.
There you go.
I don't think he ever really liked the movie. He never thought it was. He never thought it accurately portrayed. Portrayed what really went on. Yeah. He was never a big fan of the movie. I mean, this is like a huge. This is big news, obviously. I mean, it just sounds like they really just took advantage of this poor guy, poor kid when he was a kid. Really, I mean, he didn't know any better. I mean, when you're 18, you don't really know what you're signing. You know, when I was 18, I wouldn't have known the difference between adoption papers and a conservatorship.
It is kind of crazy that like we still like when you're 18, you're still a kid, but yet you're treated as an adult in every sense possible in this country.
I'm 25 and I still act like a child every single day.
I'm going to be 30 in October and I still feel like a kid.
Jesus. I mean, you guys can tell by the texts I send in our group chat. I'm definitely scared.
No, like I've been saying this forever. Like, and to think back on it, I'm totally open about it. Like about $140,000 in the hole because of college tuition. Like, and that's like what scholarship? How do you entrust an 18-year-old to be like, oh, hey, pick where you're going to go to college and spend all this money? Like John Mulaney has a funny joke in one of his like old bits. He's like, I got an email from college and they were like, hey, give us money. And he goes, I spent $160,000 to be an English major to major in the language I speak. Now, like, albeit also like he went to Georgetown, like Georgetown English. Like, come on, that's pretty fucking bad. No, it's amazing how we trust people like that to, just in general, an 18-year-old to make these kind of decisions, let alone something like that. And Ben's absolutely right. I don't even know what conservator paperwork looks like, let alone a adoption paper.
Nobody in the world knew what a conservatorship was until the Britney Spears stuff came to light.
Yeah, exactly.
I had never even heard of it until tonight.
Well, there you go. Look at that joke. Lucas Glover's ass is sweaty. Kim Jong-il's famed golf course of 38 under par gets an invite to the PGA Tour. And the top 50 on tour head to the BMW Championship. I told everybody this is going to be the best intro of the year, and it most certainly is. Welcome into the Get in the Hole podcast, sponsored by Wasted Wedge. A new era in golf has arrived. Follow them at wastedwedge.com. Their line of wasted wedges, naturally what it sounds like. The wedge turned drinking game, the best thing that you can get from the first hole to the 18th green. Wastedwedge.com. Remember that name. Wasted.
And Steve, because August is National Golf Month. Through the end of August, when you go to check out, use code SUMMER23 and you get free shipping.
It's golf month? That's amazing.
National Golf Month, the month of August.
Real quick, you did not say anything. You did not say anything about that being the best intro ever, but that was a very, very solid intro.
I told myself that.
By the way, you clearly didn't watch the episode from last week where we said it was National Golf Month. Didn't we say that, KB?
I might have.
I was a little busy soaking it up.
He was on a European excursion.
I was on European.
He's in a different time zone, remember?
Yeah, he's mentally, he's still in a different time zone.
I was so focused on the beach that I gave less of a shit about this podcast. No offense to you guys. I love you guys to death. But
you literally got 0 tan to show for it. Congratulations.
I actually got a great tan, and you can see it. I saw
the sun. I saw your sunburned skin with your shirt off before.
Ugh. I'm not sunburned at all. What do you mean?
Your face is red.
A little bit. Or actually, no, it's probably the lighting. Like, it really isn't that red anymore.
He's just blushing because he saw me for the first time in weeks.
That is true, yeah. Dude. No,
Kyle, every time you text us, I blush.
It's always so great to see him. So anyway, Lucas Glover as we start off the show here. I don't know whether or not we should talk about the fact that he went back to back and has made more money in 8 days than he has in the last 6 years or something like that, or the fact that his ass looked like a Five Guys bag. Lucas Glover goes back to back at the FedEx St. Jude to essentially push himself into. I want to say he should be top 3 now in the FedEx Cup standings. He started out 2 weeks ago at 80 something. I gotta find the exact number, but has now jumped all the way to the top of the board thanks to back-to-back wins. He's made upwards of $11 million in the last 8 days, which I believe
he's number 4.
Number 4. He's made about the same amount of money between 2012 and 2018, I think it was. So a 6-year span, made about the same amount. So an absolute ridiculous jump for Lucas Glover, but really, I think the story comes down to the fact that he was sweating his ass off. Ben, you saw Ben, you saw Austin Truslow today, and he was a little sweaty. What's the take here? Who was sweatier on the course, Austin or Lucas Glover on Sunday?
I actually haven't seen. Literally, I gotta check this out.
Oh boy, you're in for a treat.
That's an odd adjective to use for swamp ass.
Wait, Steven, what was your question?
Who was sweatier, Lucas Glover or Austin today on the golf course?
Definitely Lucas, because it looks like he pissed his pants in the picture.
He pissed through his ass.
Literally, actually, in this picture I'm looking at, the only thing in the front of his pants, above the knees, that is dry is his crotch.
So you're going to love this. Literally, it's trending still on Twitter. Lucas Glover pants. So that's what it looked like. I don't even like how one can describe this image. It's literally just that. That's kind of disgusting. And honestly, the front was even worse.
No Laying Up tweeted Lucas Glover's pants heading to a playoff, and it was a fan from Texas Tech when they played Oklahoma State, and it's a kid just like this in the stands.
Look, I totally understand. It's hot. They were in Memphis this week. It's hot. I get it. You're in a playoff with Patrick Cantlay. Someone either stick to dark pants or I don't know.
Someone said get Lucas Glover a Dry Fit sponsorship ASAP.
I will say, I got to watch my friend Austin Truslow and I. We played in a Monday qualifier today for the Magnet Championship. Austin does this thing where I've noticed now he only wears long sleeve golf shirts, and I think it's more just a sun protection thing. I gotta tell you what though, that guy, he was very sweaty, and I was like, dude, we played only an hour apart, and I'm way less sweaty than you are. What happened?
Well, hold on. Well, sun sleeves versus an actual long sleeve shirt. That's a lot of fabric we're talking about. Plus, I'm going to assume your sleeves are dry fit.
I'm talking about here. I'm talking about here and the upper back. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, are your sun sleeves individual sleeves, or it's an undershirt?
Individual.
Hold on.
I don't know. Ones that are sort of undershirts, but I mean, I'm just so jacked that I don't know if they would fit.
They're literally meant to stick to your body. I'm pretty sure they'll fit.
Yeah, but if Ben takes one swing the way I know he can, he's ripping through that bad boy when SpongeBob rips out of the shirt in the boxing ring.
I'd be like Zion Williamson when he broke his shoe.
I mean, on the bright side, it'd be an undershirt, so you wouldn't even see it. But hey, if you're strong enough to totally bust through. But yeah, so Lucas Glover jumps all the way to the 4th spot in the.
I love when Ben busts through.
Wow, that's a mega sexual innuendo.
I have so many different areas I could take that, but for the sake of me not getting canceled, I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it.
Remember when Ben was on this show and he used to be like, yo, can you cut out all the clips of me cursing, and now it's just like all out. Let me say whatever the hell I want, please, Ben. Give us your comment. I want to hear it.
Ben is like the Nicolas Cage gif. He's like, all right, let's ride.
Jesus Christ! When you get the three of us back in a room together, it's like all hell's gonna break loose. This is terrible.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my god! Is there? I don't even know if there's anything else to talk about Lewis Liver. Well, first of all, he won in a playoff against Patrick Cantlay. He found the water on the first hole, I believe Cantlay was, and a par make for Lewis Liver nets him.
What was more wet, the water that ball found, or Lucas Glover's pants?
I'll go with Lucas's pants. The one thing I will say is, thank God the Ryder Cup teams, they all wear dark pants. So if for some reason Zach Johnson's watching and sees a back-to-back performance from Lucas Livers, like, you know what, might be worthy of riding the hot hand for a captain's draw. They're only wearing blue pants unless it's like that one year, I think it was like 6-7 years ago, where they had the outfits with red pants, maybe a little gutsy.
Yeah, that'd be bold. I think they took notes after this weekend and said, boys, navy blue pants. We're not going back.
Or they're like, Lucas, your locker, straight navy. That's it. That's all we're giving you. And God forbid we give you white pants. If we do that, we might as well fucking shank this shit.
This will be the dirtiest pants the world will ever see.
They're gonna give those away. There's gonna be like the you know, like guys who wear their baseball hats like way too often, and it has the sweat marks like all around the brim. It's gonna literally be like indented in his pants. These white pants with like black streaking.
Were you talking about me when you say that guys wear their baseball hats too often? Because every single single hat I own has literally like sweat stains.
Oh no, I'm in the same boat. There's a reason why I no longer wear white hats.
Well, yeah, because you use Rogaine now. That's why.
I have a full head of hair. What the fuck you mean? All right,
after Rogaine.
No, I've always had a nice full head of hair.
I don't know, man.
You're a dick. All right, moving on. We're gonna go to some a new segment here, trending tweets. We're gonna debate some of the top posts from this past week. Our group chat always blows up with some fun little debates, and I know Ben has been very adamant about a couple of these, so I'm really excited to get into some of our top tweets of the week. And we start with Golf Digest discussing the LPGA and how the caption, first of all, LPGA pros are next level accurate. Ben, what's your take here on the idea that LPGA Tour pros are next level good because they hit their drivers straight?
Real quick before I answer that, this is just one of like the funniest pictures of Russell Henley. He looks like
he's like, so dirty.
He's like borderline cross-eyed, okay? And then on top of that, it's just like, I don't know. It's like he's like so curious about something.
He looks like he just smelled a fart.
It's just
Lucas Glover just walked by Russell Henley in that picture.
Russell Henley saw Lucas Glover's pants. What happened? Sorry, what was the question?
So, according to Golf Digest, based on recent statistics from the LPGA Tour, Russell Henley, the PGA Tour's straightest hitter, had hit 72.4% of fairways, would be 77th on the LPGA Tour. I know we talked a lot about it off camera, but the idea that the LPGA players are next level good because they hit their drives straighter than the men, what do you make of that?
I mean, I'd hope they hit it straight because they don't hit it as far as the guys. I mean, it's not rocket science. The shorter you hit it, the straighter it goes, because the shorter you hit it, the less time the ball is in the air, and the less time the ball is in the air, the less chance it has to curve as in curve offline.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they should be hitting more fairways than men. That's always been the case. I don't really know. First of all, they did they did Russell so dirty with that picture. That's first of all. Second of all, I saw that and I just was kind of like, well, yeah, Golf Digest, thanks for pointing out the fucking obvious. Like, I know that they hit it straighter than us. Like,
Yeah,
I know. Trust me.
I did some number crunching, and I mentioned this earlier to you guys. So the average LPGA driver hits it 278.9 yards. The average PGA Tour player hits it 325. Sorry, the top players hit it 279 for the LPGA and 325, 326 for the PGA Tour. The LPGA average is 254, and the PGA average is basically 300 yards. The average LPGA golf course is only 6,400 yards. When you go to an LPGA event, they're determining where the tee box is, as opposed to the PGA Tour, where the courses have gotten so long and the tech's gotten so good. You're playing from the tips basically at literally every course. So the average PGA course is 7,200 yards and a total of 800 yards further than the women. I think this is a ludicrous tweet because it's like Ben, you're saying, it's completely obvious that the women should be hitting it straighter because they're not hitting it nearly as far. I also don't think they have to because of the fact that you can hit it 250 yards like me, as somebody who only hits it probably 260 off the tee.
Yeah, right.
I'm only playing 6,600 yards probably on your local course in New York. Like, nothing too crazy. Like, I'm not, and that's me trying to kill it. Naturally, these women should be better than me. So of course they're hitting it straighter. I think this is just a really bad beat and a bad tweet. KB, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's just like a poorly pieced together set of data to put out there as a graphic, and there's so many different components to this that it doesn't tell a complete story. This is this is like you're doing a book report and you just you turn in a footnote.
Yeah, like we're gassing up the LPGA players when we should be doing it in a totally different regard. I disagree with this wholeheartedly. We move on.
Wait 1 second.
Yes.
I do notice Golf Digest does do this every once in a while. They come out with a clunker of an article or a clunker of something, and this is the
result.
This is the equivalent of all the big sports media outlets who just put out those quote graphics because they know that those graphics are going to get reused as memes.
Oh yeah.
That's what this is the equivalent of.
Yeah, for sure.
And again, it's just a common example of ESPN, I think, has posted more WNBA content this year than MLB. And typically, all the MLB content they're putting up is Ohtani. So it's kind of funny to try and tout the LPGA, tout them for what they're good at naturally, not trying to compare them to a tour that's obviously head and shoulders better and stronger because naturally that's just how the men are. We move on to Tom Kim's capri pants. Look or not, I don't really know. Now, they're not actually capris. He didn't jump into Brooke Henderson's closet and steal these out of there. They're just rolled up because he found the water on a hole, had to hit out, and said that the light pants would have gotten incredibly dirty. Do we think the capris are a move for Tom Kim? Should we see Ben in them soon enough? Let us know in the comments below.
Well, look, if you got the calves, show them.
Yes.
I mean, I know I have the calves, so I would rock.
Us calf boys over here, Ben.
I'd rock some. KB and I, we are rocking the calf game. Steven, on the other hand,
I have great legs.
Focus,
shut up.
His focus went to his hair because he was losing it, and so then his attention to his calves kind of diminished.
What is this joke about hair loss? I have no hair loss.
Ben is just trying to get us a him sponsorship. No free ads.
Yeah,
I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, so I have to mess with you.
So all of a sudden, I have no hair.
You didn't. Now you do. Congratulations.
Wow, Rogaine must work like a charm.
Steven, you keep interrupting me. This is not okay. You need to stop this, okay?
Bite me.
Anyway, no, I won't. Anyway,
This fucking guy.
I think. Shut up. Anyway, in all seriousness, hey, look, I mean, I'd rock some Capri style golf pants, not like actual Capris. Like, I'd roll them up. Like, I feel like that's a way more like swagged out look than you'd never catch me wearing like Capris. No way. But like, I think that this is like hilarious. I mean, this is like, I find it very interesting that he's worried about getting his light colored pants dirty when literally when you hit out of mud just gets everywhere. I mean, if you're that concerned, you might as well just literally pull like who was it? I think it was it Akshay that hit the ball out of the water without clothes on? Like, yes. Pull Akshay. I think maybe Wesley Bryan did that or something. I know he took his shirt off. Like, you got to pull.
Akshay went down to the skivvies.
Yeah, if you're so concerned about that, you need to just go literally underwear only and just rock it.
Yeah. Also, I want to acknowledge in the right-hand column here, live Pirates at Mets. I don't know who the fuck wants to watch that, but just Twitter's really screwing up here. I think the capris are interesting. I personally would not wear them. At that point, also, I'm a big proponent of shorts on the PGA Tour. I hate the idea that like we're sticking ourselves to pants. I think that's just so outdated. It's the one thing Liv does right.
Let those calves breathe, baby.
Did you just say the one thing that Liv does right?
As in terms of like on course action, yes.
Okay.
But also, like, admittedly, it's also very weird to see Dustin Johnson's calves every weekend.
Let the calves breathe.
I bet everybody would love to see my calves. My calves are better than Phil's calves for sure.
Show us your calves.
No, I'm not showing you this isn't OnlyFans, okay?
Only calves.
Yeah, seriously.
Ben Pirro OnlyFans account?
Actually, a friend of mine, she asked me if I had an OnlyFans.
All right, I'm going to put this on Twitter, and we're going to have a poll and see how many people would want to see your OnlyFans.
I don't have an OnlyFans.
No, I'm saying make one. Yet, exactly. So while Tom Kim's style choices,
Ben's OnlyFans would be just swinging and hitting videos that don't go on his Instagram, and then every Tuesday would just be calves day. It would just be a picture of Ben's calves.
My friend was like, she's like, you can make so much money with bicep pics.
And the at would just be Benny biceps.
Yeah, pretty much.
keep it nice and easy. So while Tom Kim's Capri style might be interesting, possibly the best golf drop of the entire year, and there's multiple golf style accounts that I follow. They all agree this might be one of the coolest things ever. 7-Eleven announces their line of golf merch, including this shirt here. They have balls, gloves, towels, and pants. The pants literally have the orange, green, and red stripe going up the side. What do we think of 7-Eleven, of all places, getting into the golf merch game?
I hate it.
Oh. All right.
I think it's hideous. And to be honest, Steven, the fact that you really want to buy an outfit like this is like the least bit surprising thing. Like, it's the least surprising thing you've ever said over text.
Really?
Yes, honestly, it was the least surprise. I was like, yeah, of course you would.
I'm kind of on Steve's side with this. I think it's smart.
What?
From 7-Eleven's, hear me out, from a business type of standpoint, like, this is, we talk about how golf is trying to market to a younger demographic, with LIV, with just, different things that they're trying to do, everything that happens at the Waste Management. They're trying to hit a younger demographic. That hat's kind of fire.
That hat's fire.
Even
the socks are cool.
This is 7-Eleven trying to capitalize on that and hit that college age demo where a lot of college kids now are getting into golf as just a casual, like, let's go hang out with the boys type of thing. I think this is a genius idea. Whoever in the marketing department from 7-Eleven thought of this, kudos to them, because this is so smart, because you're going to have so many college kids, especially if they like end up selling this in like actual 7-Eleven stores. Like it might be select ones, but like if they sell this in stores, they will make a killing on this merch. This is a genius like business idea.
These shirts are amazing. Drive, chip, and gulp. Beer to birdie ratio 7-Eleven. Like these are genius.
Like the marketing person from 7-Eleven deserves an infinite raise.
Also, honestly, the Rooster Polo goes so hard.
Yeah.
With the little logo. That's
the
sick.
logo's sick.
So like I love all of this.
I would be all hard in as the CEO of this company to negotiate an ad deal with 7-Eleven Golf for this podcast.
They even have, honestly,
genius.
It's overpriced for golf balls, but like to have a 7-Eleven logo.
But that's gonna be the case with any like brand. Like it's gonna get uptick.
Honestly, might be buying this hat. Like
it's a genius marketing idea. Like kudos to the 7-Eleven marketing team.
Yeah, no, they did a absolute terrific job with this. Like everything from the tees look great, the towel, and it's their line called the Convenience Store, which is awesome.
The amount of college kids that are going to buy into this is going to be astronomical.
Although I don't vibe with the shirt because this doesn't really like scream golf.
It looks like a bowling shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So like, but outside of that, I think everything else looks absolutely awesome. But
I think that might have been the vibe they were going for with them.
Possibly, yeah. And also the soft.
And you know how many college kids are going to wear these to like frat parties?
Oh
so much.
God.
It's gonna be crazy.
They're gonna roll up in the 7-Eleven golf shirt with a big gulp in hand, ready to rock and roll.
So I absolutely love this. This is a great idea. This is really good content.
They're gonna and their mom's debit card too. Awesome.
Hey, exactly.
You know what? If mom's paying, I will totally buy.
Moms dig the long ball.
A $25 25 pack of golf tees for $8. It's a little overpriced, but whatever. Whatever, it works. Getting completely off the topic here of this. North Korea.
Allegedly.
The golf course where Kim Jong-il, may he not rest in peace, shot
allegedly
38 under par, allegedly, with 11 hole-in-ones, allegedly, in his first round of golf, allegedly, has invited the PGA Tour to Pyongyang Golf Course to host a event. First of all, can we acknowledge this golf course? First of all, it looks like a pitch and putt. Like you want to look at like these greens. Like it looks like one of those things where it's like a turf almost. How they they dug it out and just like implanted grass into it like turf.
Allegedly,
it doesn't even like look real.
It looks just like a painting.
I asked Ben this last week.
These holes are literally like 140 yards. Yeah,
I asked Ben. Now, obviously, we do not stand with anything that the North Korean government has allegedly done.
Spit out.
Being that allegedly 11 hole-in-ones were recorded, is Kim Jong-il like on the ballot for the Get in the Hole Podcast Hall of Fame because he's for the brand? Allegedly.
All right. Remember when Kurt Schilling got like ousted from the Hall of Fame ballot because he was a Republican? And everyone was like, oh, but being a Republican has nothing to do with his play on the field. I agree with that. However,
it's his play on the field.
However, I do not agree with the idea of a dictator who uses state media to convince people that he allegedly had 11 hole-in-ones. No. With absolutely no due respect to the North Korean government, to Kim Jong-il, and to his immortal alleged son, Kim Jong-un, no. He does not go anywhere near the Hall of Fame.
What if the next in line is Kim Jong-gith?
What?
Get in the hole.
Oh,
we have Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, Kim Jong-gith. If we induct the namesake, allegedly.
You know what? If the next heir to the North Korean throne is Kim Jong-gif, I will automatically induct him in.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. It's like a backdoor.
It's like the Tom Hardy gif. That's bait.
No, it's like we'll have a speakeasy inside of the Hall of Fame where like you go in there and it's like the backdoor Hall of Fame and it's like just him. He's the only one. All right, so getting onto a more relevant topic than talking about playing. Also, totals like question like realistically, this looks like the Masters
like
Part 3 course. It kind of like the holes are short enough to be like the Masters Part 3 course. You usually see like at least 10 hole outs off the tee at those events. I think we could probably get a PGA Tour event where if you had an over-under on hole-in-ones, 20, 25 over 4 rounds, I'm thinking that's more than possible. Finally, the real topic that's kind of been hitting everybody, the PGA Player of the Year. It's a regular season award, just like everything else in sports. It's clear that Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler, the world's number 1 and number 2, sit kind of alone on this podium of who should get the nod as PGA Tour Player of the Year. With the stats and with their performance this year in the regular season, who wins the award for you? Ben, we'll start with you.
This is tough for me because I'm a big fan of both players, obviously. As we know, everybody knows that I think Jon Rahm is incredibly clutch, even though my counterpart did not. I say did not. Oh, I got another middle finger. Wow. Look, you don't actually see the top of his bald head anymore. That's great. From this angle. Anyway.
Look. Questions.
What?
Speak.
Oh, now you want me to go. Okay, fine. All right.
Get to the goddamn point.
It's hard to get to the goddamn point when you keep interrupting me.
Shut up and say it. Who's your pick?
Can you mute him? All right, in all seriousness, I'm going to go with Scottie Scheffler. I know he has 3 more total starts, and I understand that Rahm has 2 more wins despite having 3 less starts. But I also look at the overall consistency factor. Scottie has 5 more top 10s, 5 more top 5s, 0 missed cuts. His scoring average is slightly lower, which makes sense. I mean, when you have more top 5s and more top 10s, that makes sense. From an overall consistency standpoint, based off of that, because they're so neck and neck, I would go Scottie Scheffler.
Okay, big.
Yeah, it's tough. I feel like it's going to come down to, like, now, excuse my ignorance, but, like, are there people that, like, vote on this, or is it kind of like of PGA, like, writers and stuff vote on this?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed batch.
Okay. I think it's going to come down to, like, how the writers view and weigh 1 miscut versus 0 and a major win versus 0. Because that's kind of like the one opposite end of the spectrum thing there. And obviously Scottie's got the 5 more top 5 finishes, so that plays in his favor. And he's got 5 more top 10 finishes. I think I lean Scottie because of the amount of top 5 finishes versus Jon Rahm's and top 10 finishes versus Jon Rahm's. Now, John's obviously got the more total wins. So, it's do you weigh more total wins and a major win against Scottie for that reason? I think this is incredibly close and one of the more, like, flip of a coin kind of player of the year votes we've gotten in sports in a long time.
I saw a tweet, and I'm trying to find exactly what it is, but I believe the number... God, I'm really hoping that I could find this. If I'm saying it right, and I really hope I am. If Scottie Scheffler's strokes gained putting was just at a 1, he would have finished in the top 5 and I believe 40 events this year. Everything else is the reason why he didn't achieve those top 5s. He finished though top 12 for I think like 6 months, top 12 straight.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. How can you finish the top 5 40 times if you only play in 20 events?
No. I'm saying like his strokes gained number, right?
Yes.
If it was only at a 1 with how the rest of his strokes gained numbers are in any event this year, whether he played it or he didn't, he would have been top 5 in 40 events because of the way everyone else played out.
Oh, okay, I got it. Okay.
So his statistics alone are incredible. He finished top 12, I believe, for 6 straight months ever since the CJ Cup in October. I think it was. Was the last time he finished outside of the top 12, with the exception of a couple weeks ago? And I haven't seen anybody do that probably since Tiger Woods. Like, that's a obscene number. My votes on Scotty, wins and majors aside, and I think Rahm's achievements are all great, but aside from his win at the Masters, Jon Rahm hasn't had a win since then. So I think if you look at the schedule and the way things kind of ramp up, he won his events, yes, in high-profile events, but it was earlier on in the year. Guys are still kind of figuring their game out. He had 2 wins, I believe, before the month of March. So when you look at it from that sense, the biggest part of the golf calendar happens after the Masters and up through the Open. That's when the heart of golf is, as I've been beating a dead horse for forever. It's where mostly all of the elevated events are. It's where all of the big time players play. You have I think like 15 top 30 events on tour in that given span. So with that being said, I think Scotty gets my vote because of the consistency, and it's something that we have not seen in a very long time. And again, his strokes gained numbers have been off the charts. He's top 5 in every category, in every stat category on tour. He, for me, is quite easily the best player in the world, obviously. I think he deserves that, and I think he deserves a Player of the Year award. So there you go.
I think there's an equal argument for both guys. Like,
absolutely, yeah, there is.
You can totally make the argument either way, 100%.
Yeah. Like, you could sit and somebody could argue Jon Rahm, and I'd listen to your argument and be more than likely convinced if your argument is like well enough presented. And same thing with Scotty.
And I think the other part is too is that I think Scotty Scheffler's misses have been less than Jon Rahm's. You're like, I cannot tell you off the top of my head, but there have been rounds of golf where Jon Rahm's strokes gained numbers have been like 130th out of the 150 players in the event. Scotty hasn't really dipped below the top 40 for the most part. It's been very, very even keeled the entire year. And when he has his misses, he's usually making up for it somewhere else. I think even this past week at the St. Jude Invitational, his first couple of rounds, he was a few over par. He was losing four strokes off the tee on the green, but he was gaining 6 back off the tee. So at that point, it's basically evening itself out. I think Rahm's had worse performances overall at given weeks than Scheffler. I think it plays into the overall consistency factor that we're discussing. We'll take a short break. On the other side of the BMW Championship, the top 50 on the PGA Tour head in to the last playoff event for the Tour Championship. We'll break it all down for you, give you a breakout of Olympia Fields out in Illinois, and give you our picks for who we are watching, who's in, who's out, all that and more right here on the Get in the Hole podcast. We are breaking it down with some Course Confidential here on the Get in the Hole podcast. KB, Benny P, and your boy, Steve McAvoy right here. Olympia Fields Golf Course plays host to the BMW. The last time we played here was back in 2020. That was the year, if you remember back those crazy tweets, Jon Rahm's 66-foot bird to force the playoff against Dustin Johnson. And I did it all over again to beat him in the playoff, which then launched him right to the top of the FedEx Cup standings, only to unfortunately lose to Patrick Cantlay back in 2020. But we're back. Par 70, 7,300 yards and change, 2 par 5s, 4 par 3s, 12 par 4s on the property. 8 of those 12 par 4s come in at over 440 yards. Both par 5s are really long, over 600 yards. So to give you an idea of the golf course here, to kind of give a short breakdown, you can go back to our 2020 preview to see a little bit more of the in-depth look on this course. But to recap, in essence, very long off the tee. Rough's going to be absolutely crazy as opposed to the last few BMWs. You remember back in 2021, it was basically a putting contest between Cantlay and Bryson DeChambeau. Last year, again, Patrick Cantlay runs away with it yet again. But this golf course is much different than what we saw at Wilmington and down in Potomac last 2 years. Very, very, very challenging off the tee. Narrow fairways, thick rough. Accuracy and distance are going to be paramount. Not necessarily made for the bombers. It's going to really come down to the guys who can both hit it long and straight.
What about the cleeks?
The cleeks. What does that mean still? I have no idea.
I don't think we ever found out.
All I know is that I saw a chart of like the rankings for the teams on LIV, and it's a very top heavy league. There's like 4 teams in like 100+ points, and it's like the Cleeks have like 8 points this year. Like they freaking suck.
Oh brother, this guy stinks.
Oh my god. A little more preview here on the course. Designed back in 1923, dates back to 1915 with the North Course being the 4th added to the property. So it is the newest course here on the pentagram of courses over at Olympia Fields. Hosted multiple majors, really storied history. Ben, give us a little bit of a insider look here. Bluegrass rough, rest of the course very a mix of bent grass and POA. What should we expect with those kind of conditions and how it'll play overall?
Okay, so given that it's August and that they're in the Midwest, it's gonna be hotter than Satan's butthole out there. It's gonna
pray for Lucas Glover.
Yeah,
sweaty pants.
Literally. I mean,
hope he wears navy.
It's going to be. Look, I think it's going to be a good test. I agree with Steven saying that it's not necessarily a bomber's course, which is something that you don't really see anymore. It's much more of a placement style. Golf is still very much a placement type of game, but you might not see the bombers perhaps having as much success as you would assume. The course looks tree-lined. The course looks like each hole looks like it has some twists and turns to it. So you'll see potentially more layups as well. You said Kentucky Bluegrass. Is that what you said?
Yeah, so Kentucky Bluegrass rough, bent grass POA mix on the fairways and greens. According to some analysts, the ball will be rolling at about a 12.5.
Okay, so
quite fast.
So Kentucky Bluegrass, that's pretty thick. I mean, that's a very thick style rough. It'll be interesting to see how much they grow it out. And as far as the greens and fairways go, the fairways there's nothing really there's nothing really of note. But as far as the greens go, it really just depends on how much Poana you have. Because out here especially in the east end of Long Island where I am, a lot of the greens are really fully Poana now. And Poana is not a grass, it's actually a weed. And it's literally, it's invasive. The seeds get stuck to people's spikes. They bring them, then those shoes end up being used to walk on greens, and that's how Poana ends up getting spread. The seeds that can grow Poana can be dropped by birds, and then the Poana then starts to grow in the greens. In the morning, Poana is fine to putt on. Late in the afternoon, you want to rip your hair out because it's bumpy. It's not a grass, so it's not a fine surface to putt on late in the afternoon. So it'll be very interesting to see what the scores are like later in the day. The good news, though, is that there's only 50 guys. So the amount of foot traffic won't be nearly as much as a typical 130, 140 player tournament where you have a morning and an afternoon wave. So I do think the field size actually offsets the potential for missed putts because the greens will actually roll perhaps a little truer because we're dealing with a third of the size of a traditional field roughly. It should be a good test, though. It's just going to be hotter than Satan's butthole because it's the Midwest in the middle of August. I went to school in the Midwest, and middle of August was the worst. It sucked. I hated it, but we'll see.
So it's interesting too, correlating with your point on foot traffic. The tee times actually just came out about 20 minutes ago. Earliest tee time is set to be 9:26 in the morning, with the latest teeing off at 2. So we'll see more of those like afternoon tee times. But again, it might very well be that you're going to see a lot of pretty true rolls overall. A couple of things stat-wise that correlate, dating back to the 2020 BMW. That was the last event that there is actual true statistical analysis that we can take from there, and we can carry it into this. Back then, at that point, according to the Action Network, strokes gain, putting, and approach were most highly correlated with strokes gain total. Off the tee was less correlated with strokes gain total than it would have been at an average tour course. However, distance did see an increased correlation, while accuracy saw a slight decrease. Although this year the rough is exponentially thicker than back in 2020. So something else to look at too, as I was mentioning with the accuracy versus distance kind of debate. Also, strokes gain around the green does have a boost in strokes gain total. There's over 91 bunkers on the North Course. Water plays on eight of the 18 holes, including 3 water-lined greens. So things to kind of look out for. It's going to be a big approach play course, as is most events, but the ability to get it within close proximity from about 125 yards in is going to be paramount. If you look at winners in the past, I mean, you can kind of see a trend in who particularly plays well, not only in the playoffs, but of course, it's here. Patrick Cantlay, John Rahm, Justin Thomas, Keegan Bradley, Mark Leishman, Dustin Johnson, Jason Day. Kind of a similar grouping of players who always play well at courses such as this one. So something else to kind of keep in mind. When John Rahm won here, he only won at 4 under par. So something to keep in mind in terms of the kind of score it might take to win. It might very well be quite low on the board. Chatting about the field this week, as the top 50 players on tour make it in, some guys you won't be seeing: Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Montgomery, Thomas Dietrich, Bo Hostler, Davis Riley. Some of the middle tier guys are going to be out this week. Right there at the bubble, some of the guys who are both barely got in, such as Tom Hoagie, Harris English, Hideki Matsuyama, and Cameron Young, Cam Davis, to name a few. Then you have guys who are even on the bubble at the Tour Championship spot. Will need a good performance going into this week's Thegala, Justin Rose, Denny McCarthy, Chance Power, and Adam Hadwin. Who are some guys we're looking out for this week? Who do we like? Who do we not like? Who do we think has a really good shot to get up towards the top of the FedEx Cup standings and have a pretty good number next week at East Lake?
Okay, so someone for me, I'm going to go with someone who's, I don't want to say he's flying under the radar. He definitely has not had the season that we would have assumed he would have had, especially after winning his first major last year. That's Matt Fitzpatrick. I really feel like because of the style of golf course this is, where it's not necessarily paramount that you have to bomb it, more of a placement style, technician-like golf course, because he is a technician. If you watch him play and watch how he operates, that couldn't have been more obvious if you watched Full Swing. I mean, the guy is like just incredible when it comes to like analytics and numbers. This is his type of golf course. I think he's definitely going to have a good week. I just want to throw his name out there. Another guy that I don't know. I'm still waiting on Hideki Matsuyama to have a good week. I mean, look, it's great that he made it into the second leg of the PGA Tour playoffs. That's fantastic. I'm still waiting for that 2023 breakthrough, though. And, you know, it's getting kind of late. So, I don't know. I think those two guys, though, in particular, for guys that are a little bit lower, whose seasons are definitely in jeopardy, those two guys I would definitely look at.
I have a few guys that I'm eyeing this week. I mean, there's some really obvious names I could throw out there. Patrick Cantlay being one of them. He, for some reason, first of all, he's going for a three-peat at this event. So naturally, he turns it on come playoff time. He lost in the playoff last week, and he's probably going to turn it on this week. I don't think it's too crazy to say that Lucas Glover might go three straight. For a guy who hadn't placed better than like top 50, I think, for about a year, all of a sudden has 5 top 12s in his last 6 events. And for the most part, at least the last 3 weeks, have all come on pretty challenging golf courses for what the conditions are lying. This is one that's very similar to the rest of them. In terms of a comparative from the BMW, it's kind of like the TBC Twin Cities, where he also plays top 10 as well. In terms of the actual overall length, the layout, certainly not the conditions in terms of thick rough and fast greens. It was a little bit different than that. But Lucas Glover has done something that not many guys have done in the last 6 weeks. Him and Emiliano Grillo, like two guys who have had quietly really good past 5-6 weeks. Grillo, I think he has 3 top 5s, I believe, 3 top 10s, whatever the number is. Has been 4 top 20s in his last 5 events, including a win 7 weeks ago with the Charles Schwab. So Grillo's got it going on. He's playing really well. I love Tommy Fleetwood this week, someone who's on that kind of bubble for the top 30, but is certainly like right in the mix where a win will certainly give him a really nice number. I think if he goes into Eastlake where he is now, he'll start at, I think, 5 under par. If you can get up into the double digits, that would be huge for him. Tyrrell Hatton's got a good shot. I like Max Homa this week. Sai Thigala, who sits literally right on the line, I believe he's 31st right now, needs a good week to get in. I think he's got a really good shot. Somebody who's very young and very poised for a good event this week. So those are some guys that I'm eyeing. If you want to talk guys on the bubble who I think are kind of falling off, I think, well, Sepp Straka sitting at 24 has been slowly kind of hitting his lull after 3 really good weeks, including a win. Adam Shank's been on fire. He's currently 20th. I don't see him slowing up. A really good week from Corey Connors. Like, you look at the guys from 20 to 30, and it's between Jordan Spieth, Tyrrell Hatton, Corey Connors, Grillo, and like Colin Morikawa, where really good weeks are going to bump some guys back. And if you see somebody like a Jason Day miss the cut, he could very well go from 21st to the bottom 30 pretty quick. Might even see him miss out. So there's a lot of fluidity in these in this event where some guys on the back end can have really strong weeks. Even Sam Burns, who's literally on the line at 30, expect some really good weeks from some guys, and some guys who missed the cut very well might miss out on the shot at Eastlake. So keep you on the lookout there. KB, do you have anybody that you want to include in this grouping? Who do you like? Who do you not?
I was nodding my head expeditiously with Ben on Hideki. I'm just waiting for.
Yeah. See, Kyle knows. He knows to agree with.
Because we talked about Hideki last week too, being a guy that like could just surprise everybody, and like we're just waiting for that breakthrough moment. So he's somebody that I am just like laser focused on, because at any moment, like, he's the guy that can like flip a switch and he's in. My who's out is Steven's grammar, because he used the wrong who's on the lower third.
Stupid.
Your grammar school teacher's in shambles.
In my defense, and I think it's really funny because I'm a journalist, freshman year of high school, I failed English.
How do you feel English?
Because I was so bad at grammar.
How do you fail the language you speak?
I was just about to
That's what we call a callback, ladies and gentlemen.
Segues are weird. No, my mom made fun of me because my first year report card, I had a 93 in Spanish and a 74, which in my school was considered failing, in English. I literally failed English, went to summer school for English.
¿Por qué?
So the deviation between literature and grammar, I was really good at literature, which kept my average like right there at the borderline. I was so bad at grammar. Like not even funny. It was terrible. To the point that I was like had I not had literature and like essay writing, I would have totally flopped. So irregardless of my terrible grammar, Hideki Matsuyama is really interesting, because if you look at his numbers this year, four missed cuts on the year. He has 8 top 20s, including a top 20 this past week. Like, he's kind of like consistent like a rock. He hasn't finished, I believe, looking at his numbers, any worse than 48th this year. And for the most part, he's usually in the top 30 every single week. It's just he hasn't been able to break through for that really tight top 5 finish. He only has 1 top 5 this year, which came with the Players. And aside from that, he hasn't had a win since the Masters. So I don't really know what the deal is. He's been really consistent, but is another top 20 week going to be enough? I don't really know. And somebody who's there kind of on the back end he's 26th right now in the rankings. Maybe a top 20 will push him back to like 30, and he'll have to start from the very bottom at Eastlake, which isn't a very telling spot to be, considering the staggering scores. One final break. On the other side, some beer money time, and we will get to you our picks for the final leg of the playoffs before Eastlake, the BMW Championship. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Back in business. Oh my God, what happened to the numbers? Back in business here with some beer money plays of the week brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. Philadelphia's top light lager, the same, actually less calories and carbs than your typical Bud Light, and better than ever. You can find them at kenwoodbeer.com. Look at the Kenny Tracker. You can find them at your local Whole Foods, your local Packy, and of course, as we approach October and the renewal of basketball season, the Wells Fargo Center. Go check them out when the Sixers come back in town without James Harden. The Sixers.
We don't acknowledge that team right now.
Oh, sorry. Well, apparently Daryl Morey's a liar, and I never want to play for a team.
Yeah, shout out to James Harden knowing his geopolitical endeavors, knowing that the Chinese government hates Daryl Morey.
I still can't believe that the Nets didn't win a ring with Harden, Irving, and Durant. I called this years ago.
Listen to them speak and tweet, and you'll know why.
Steven, shut up. Now it's my turn to tell you to shut up. Are you, as a Nets fan?
I'm sorry, Ben.
You're a Nets fan?
Shut up, Steven. Kyle, you're good. Steven, shut up. It's my turn to talk. I am sick of it. Close your mouth, too, okay?
I have the power of muting.
Don't worry. So do I.
Awesome.
I'm like Tony Realia on Around the Horn.
Here's the deal. You want to know why they didn't win? It's because all they do is just dribble all the time. And guess what? They don't play defense at all. Kyrie was always hurt. James Harden was fat and out of shape like he always is. Slow, hurt his hamstring, and KD is just like a delicate little flower cupcake. And,
KD.
Give me a break. And then they had like a past their prime, like Blake Griffin. Give me a break. That team was so overrated. They were so overhyped. It was KD and literally nothing else. James Harden was invisible on that team, and Kyrie wasn't available because he chose not to get vaxxed in a city where he needs to be vaxxed. So, yeah, that's why they didn't. That's why they didn't, Steven. Okay?
I'm pretty sure they just didn't because Kyrie Irving believes the Earth's flat. That's my only.
And he's getting ready to play one-on-one against Dave Portnoy.
Literally all I had to hear. By the way, the Portnoy buying back Barstool thing is like crazy. I have to acknowledge that. We started off here, making and missing the cut. Ben, who are you taking this week?
Oh God, please come back to me. You just got
KB.
I need to get my notes.
Missing the cut is going to be Lucas Glover's pants from last week because there's no way that brother is wearing those ever again.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Missing the cut this week.
Actually, I'm totally lying to you. No one's really missing the cut, but let's just call it outside of the top 30.
What to say?
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna say Kurt Kitayama.
That's actually a really good play. Inside of the top 30, basically my play for a top 30. I'll take Emiliano Grillo. That's a layup pick, but I'll play it anyways. To finish outside of the top 30 and to have an absolute shit week, I'll take Tyrrell Hatton. Something about a leprechaun just screams bad week. Ben, anybody?
All right, so for me, I'm going to go with Chris Kirk finishing inside the top 30. He's right at number 29, so he's probably going to need a better finish than 30th, I would assume. Since
Definitely.
50 guys. Who knows? I mean, everybody literally below him on the FedEx Cup list could literally shit the bed, but chance of that happening, not happening. So I'd say he's going to finish top 30. I'm going to go on a limb here, guys. We talked about him earlier on the show because of the hideous picture that Golf Digest used. I'm going to go with Russell Henley to finish outside the top 30. I know it sounds crazy. I don't know. I feel every once in a while he has a clunker, and I just think he might have a clunker, and that's okay because we all have clunkers.
I like that. Very heartwarming and touching.
I don't like you, but okay. Next.
Top 20.
Oh, me. Got it. Top 20. I think this one's pretty much a shoe-in. I'm going to go with Taylor Moore. He had a really good week last week. I think he'll follow it up with another solid week again. Maybe not quite as good, but Taylor Moore, top 20 for sure.
Maybe.
Give me Sahith Theegala.
I'm kind of on the fence here because I feel like whether it's Jordan Spieth, who's currently 27th, I could go with someone like Morikawa, who's 22nd, Sam Burns, who's 30th. I think all of them kind of have a play. Someone who's like way out and I think really needs a strong week to get in. Cameron Young. You want to talk about guys who want to hold their spot? I'm talking about guys who have to actually get in. Young's going to need at least a top 20. Currently sits at 46th, 16 guys back, but like gettable if you look at the kind of players who he's up against. And look, not that these guys suck. I mean, they made it to the second leg of the playoffs for a reason. But I would easily take someone like Cameron Young over a Adam Svensson or a Young Hung An or a Lee Hodges. Like these are beatable players if you go matchup wise. I really like Cameron Young for at least a top 20 this week. Could possibly push a top 10 depending on how the luck draws. Top 10, guys.
Top 10. Okay. For me, I'm actually going to go with your top 20 pick, Steven. I'm going to go with Cameron Young. This could potentially save his season, get him going, get him on the right foot going into the Tour Championship. And this could definitely turn what's been kind of a mediocre year for a rising superstar into a pretty good one. So I'm going to say top 10 for Cameron Young.
KB?
I'm going to ride the hot hand and the wet pants. Give me Lucas Glover.
Yuck. I really hope his stylist is like navy and black. That's all you're wearing this week. I really hope. Top 10. I have a couple of guys who I'm eyeing. I really like Denny McCarthy this week. Had a really bad putting week, which is surprising considering that's the one thing he's really good at. But I'm going to take Matt Fitzpatrick. Again, needs a top 20 at least to save his season. He's currently 40th in the standings. Needs a strong week. I like Matt Fitzpatrick at a gettable course, very similar to the one that he won at Harbour Town earlier in the year. Top 5.
Top 5. I've been bullish on this guy time and time again, and I'm waiting for the 2023 breakthrough. I am going to go with Colin Morikawa. He sits 22nd currently in FedEx Cup points. Like I said last week, that's basically where he was last year, plus or minus a spot. I think his week is coming. I just don't know when it is. I'd say top 5 for my man, Colin Morikawa. One of the sweetest swings in golf.
It is nice.
Better than yours.
Oh, really, anybody's swing is better than mine. I have a very John Daly swing, and it's kind of disgusting.
I don't think you're flexible enough, but go ahead. KB.
Excuse you.
I'm going to go with everybody's favorite social media star, Max Homa.
Yeah, that's my man.
Top 5. I don't know if I want to take a front runner here because I have Jon Rahm listed. But I feel like to have a really strong week this week to maintain that close to top spot. I mean, I'll play Rahm in terms of the betting odds just in general for a top 5
plus 200.
Because that'll be easy. But if I'm gonna take somebody who's like kind of on the bubble and need a strong-ish week, I'm already taking him high. You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna keep a Jon Rahm at for a top 5. I think that's a strong play. He really did not have a great week this past week. Him and Jeff Lurk both. So this week is a get right week getting into East Lake. Let's go with a long shot here, guys, who are 5,000 plus odds or longer. KB, if you have the odds in front of you, give me some names who are around that area for us that we can bet off of.
And this is to win, you're saying?
Yeah.
So in the plus 5,000 range, we have Cam Davis, Siwoo Kim, Keegan Bradley, JT Poston, your guy Emiliano Grillo, Sepp Straka, Taylor Moore, Sahith Tagala, Denny McCarthy, Brendan Todd, Adam Hadwin. Those are all in the 5,000 to 9,000 range.
Oof. I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin, actually. I was thinking before you even said that, I was like, oh, he's 37th in FedEx Cup points, and he has shot a 59 before, so this is definitely a scoreable kind of course for someone with his game and his pedigree. Adam Hadwin, he's my long shot.
Adam Hadwin is not 7th in FedEx Cup points, 37th.
I said 37th.
Oh, I heard 7th. Apologies. Wow. KB, who do you got?
Plus 7,000, Sepp Straka.
I'm going to go with a completely wild and out there pick. I'm taking Adam Schenk. A great name for a golfer.
Why? Because you shanked 5 balls into a fence post in front of me one time.
Absolutely not. No, he's top 20 currently in points. He's still he's a good player, but he still needs a good performance to be able to even try and compete in his first go ahead at East Lake, assuming he gets there. He fits the course well. He's like 14,000, I think, to play. So I'm a fan of Adam Schenk this week. We're gonna head to our gimme plays. Who do you guys taking?
All right, mine's a pretty obvious one. I'm going to go with Victor Hovland, top 20. I think that's pretty much a shoo-in. The short game's really good. He hits it great all the time. Victor Hovland, top 20.
My gimme play is going to be. Let me pull this up here. Ricky Boys ride again. Ricky Fowler, top 20.
He's won back-to-back events here. I would take him to three-peat, but I'll take him for a top 10 because the money's good. Patrick Cantlay, top 10. Our winning picks, who is taking a top spot in the FedEx Cup standings going into next week?
I'm going to go with Matt Fitzpatrick. He currently sits 40th. Did you hear that right, Steven? 40th. FedEx Cup points. He's a technician, and this is his type of golf course. Pick it apart. Make birdie after birdie after birdie, playing smart yet conservative and aggressive golf. I don't even know if that made any sense. He plays smart. He plays smart golf, conservative, aggressive. He's very much a numbers guy, and I feel like this type of course fits someone like him and his strengths. Matt Fitzpatrick gets the dub this week.
I'm torn here. You know what? I'm going to throw a lightning bolt at the dartboard. Give me Victor Hovland.
Ooh.
There is one guy in this event that I'm actually very intrigued on. He is 10th on the PGA Tour in approach from 125 to 150 yards. He is between rough proximity. He's 12th on tour. He's one of the straightest drivers. He's a relatively long driver in terms of the tour average. And putting over the last 4 rounds, he's been gaining five strokes on the green. Had not played since the Open, where he finished 52nd. Had a top 6 finish this past week in Memphis. He plays well on golf courses where you need to hit it straight. I love Corey Connors this week.
Corey Connors!
Yes, the Canadian. Second win on tour this year, coming in hot. Literally his entire year has been made up of stroke gain approach, stroke gain off the tee, and stroke gain total. Like his stroke gain total have been predicated on those 2 things alone, which are clearly 2 of the biggest things on this golf course that we need to look out for. So I love Corey Connors, 4 top 10s this year, 25th in the FedEx Cup standings, can push him all the way up to 1st with a nice big fat check of $4 million and a W to his name at the BMW. Boys, final thoughts before we hit the hay.
I really don't have much this week. I'm happy the 3 of us got together. I'm looking forward to Matt Fitzpatrick getting that win this week. And Lucas Glover really needs to try like chassis or something, or just some type of powder to really keep the. Oh God, I don't. That's worse than sweat. That's just. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I'm happy to see that Steven got his hair under control.
My final thoughts outside of the usual, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel as well. As we were recording, unfortunate news, former NFL running back Alex Collins passed away.
Really?
Apparently it was a motorcycle accident. Alex Collins was like one of the coolest athletes ever. He was very like big and like anti-bullying. I think he was in 7th grade at the time. This kid, he got bullied because he had an affinity for like Irish step dancing, and like that was like his thing. So Alex Collins took the time to go out and meet him, and Alex Collins' touchdown celebrations from there on out was him Irish step dancing, which is really cool. And it just sucks seeing, Alex Collins is 28 and like I'm 29. So to see somebody like in my age bracket, it always like hits weird when, they pass away suddenly. So shout out to Alex Collins. He was a great human, gone way too soon.
That's terrible. Absolutely awful. Wow. I really can't follow that up. That's really tragic. The Mets suck. And you know what? I saw a tweet that I actually agree with. It was, I forget who it was, but he compared, some guy on WFAN compared how God, I'm totally drawing a blank on the comparative here. But basically, like the idea that like countries governments tell their people, oh, sorry, it was when Andrew Garfield died, the president. He got shot in the chest. And doctors back then were like digging out the bullet with their hands, and he wound up getting a really bad infection, dying 3 months later. But everyone was like, "Oh, the president's making a great recovery. He's going to be totally okay." He died 3 months later. He compared that to how the Yankees and how Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman have been telling their fans, "Oh, it's okay. We're going to ride the ship. We're going to turn it around," and then did nothing at the deadline. I saw a great tweet about how the Angels, the Padres, and the Yankees front offices have basically given this facade of, oh, we're okay, but really they're not okay. At least when the Mets knew they sucked, they rid the ship and they got like prospects and guys who were actually like good to help replenish. So it's nice to know that the Mets actually did do something right when you look at the rest of the MLB, but they're still horrible. So,
one other final note that I brought up to Ben last week. Simply because it is hilarious, as a Phillies fan. This holiday season, coming to you from Underground Sports Philadelphia LLC, will be the 12 Days of Lowell Mets to the tune of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Very excited. What's the 8th day? I'm wildly curious. Is it Luis Castillo?
Is it the 8 games that Cespedes played in 2020 before just disappearing from the hotel? That's what it could be.
So far, the only ones we have down are day 2 and day 1. Day 2,
day 8.
Day 2 is 2 traded aces, and day 1 is a freak out from Frank Fleming.
The 12th day, honestly, should be the 120 batting average Yoenis Cespedes had in September and October during the 2015 playoff run.
Yeah, and
he did shit in those last 2 months.
Meanwhile, he was like the reason why we even made the playoffs, Steven. You're like the most. I just cut him off. You're the most ungrateful sports fan I think I've ever met. I mean, the guy literally, in his X amount of games as a Met in the regular season, played like 1998 Sammy Sosa. Okay.
I could also easily attribute their entire playoff run to Daniel Murphy having the MLB record for home runs in a playoff.
Okay. I didn't say in the playoffs. The reason they made the playoffs was literally because of him, because that offense was stagnant. It was non-existent.
That pitching had a 1.8 ERA in the last month and a half of the year.
Quiet. I don't want to listen to you at all. They had a 1.8 ERA basically the whole year at that point. Okay, they had great pitching, good defense, and sucked at hitting because we had an old David Wright, Daniel Murphy, who finally figured out how to hit when he was like 32 years old, and we ended up trading for Cespedes. Thank God. Without him, we would have been literally like an 81 and 81. We were a 500 team when we traded for him. Basically, 500 team.
And guess who won the World Series that year? A team who was dead last in RBIs, in home runs, in run production, but they were first in average.
And
runs manufactured.
Yeah. Guess what? It didn't matter. All they did was make contact with the baseball, and they were a terrible matchup for us. We were hard-throwing, strike-throwing guys. Terry Collins was like, Jacob, you don't have to throw a strike every single time. Make him chase one out of the zone. All they did was hit for contact. That's it.
Our ass in the jackpot now, Terry.
Terry, it's over for you, you little orange.
The playoffs is because of Cespedes. That's it. We were not making the playoffs even with that elite pitching staff.
You little orange.
You got Kevin Plawecki. You know it's bad when you got the backup catcher on the mound.
They weren't even the best freaking.
Get the hell out of here and go to the minor leagues, boy.
They weren't even the best team in the freaking NL.
This team is an absolute fucking joke. 20
That kid is my hero.
Get out of here, you little Barbie doll. Get the fuck out of here. Go get a little robotic arm. Because you can't even stay 2 innings for this
team without getting hurt.
You fucking idiots. That's all Ray Ramirez's fault.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time, and remember, get in the hole!